like to call to order the Bloomington Commission on Sustainability, the March 10th, 2020 meeting. We'll start off with a, oh wait, do I have to, since we have a quorum now, do I have to get a second to proceed?
I think you're fine.
Okay, cool. So new to me. We'll start with a roll call. I'm Joe Nycom.
Lauren Travis, City Bloomington.
Samantha Ginther. Anna Abernathy.
Corbin Baird. Ethan Horvath.
Pam Weaver.
Jarrett Alexander.
Okay, proceeding, we'll move on to the approval of the agenda. Has everyone seen the agenda and are you okay with it as it is written? So I motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. And also, minutes from the last meeting were distributed as well. Are there any concerns with the minutes as they were recorded? Okay. I motion to approve the minutes from the February meeting.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next is introduction of new members, which we have a couple here tonight. We'll just start to my right.
Sure.
And share anything you want to share.
Okay, great. I'm Samantha Ginther. Nice to meet everyone here. I think I've met Ethan during our recent interview, and then I met a couple people last month. So nice to see you, some new faces as well. I'm looking forward to being involved on the Commission for Sustainability. I work for IU Ventures, which is a nonprofit affiliate of the university that invests in IU-related startup companies, but also provides a lot of resources and support for them along the way as well. So happy to answer any questions, but I'm looking forward to getting involved more. Thanks.
Welcome.
I'm Ethan Horvath. Glad to be back on the commission after moving away for 2.5 years. I work in private consulting for SAIC. I do environmental work on Crane Naval south of here. And that's about all that's interesting about me.
You worked at IDEM before.
Yeah, I worked in IDEM, but I don't consider that interesting.
And Teresa is the other, is that her name? Teresa? T-R-I-S-A, I saw online.
Yeah, that is another new member, but she's not
She's
here.
not here.
She's not here yet.
Yeah.
So I'll have to reach out to her.
Okay, moving to the next item on the agenda, it's public comment. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak? Okay, moving on. That'll be to me, the report from the chair. Well, first thing to report is that we are currently full. All empty seats are taken on the commission. So, way to go. And also happy to announce this is the first time this calendar year that we have met a quorum. So again, way to go, team. And one thing to mention is that this past, it was last Thursday, I believe, there was the first public meeting about the Sustainability Investment Fund that was held at the Mill on March 5th, and that was concerning increasing the local income tax by 0.05%, I believe. 0.5% to fund the Sustainability Investment Fund. It started out with brief presentations from Councilmember Matt Flaherty, Lauren, and also Andrea Webster with the Environmental Resilience Institute at IU, and Mayor John Hamilton gave a brief speech as well at the end. And then that went into 3 breakout sessions with several different departments or categories. I don't know if they align specifically with departments, but it was definitely categories. That there were 3 20-minute breakout sessions, so you could go around to each of these tables with the categories and talk about ideas. And they covered topics such as public transit, mobility options, finance and economic equity, sustainable housing, local food, green infrastructure, planning and climate change. I would say there was a large turnout for this meeting. I was surprised by the turnout there. It was very well attended, and generally a civil discourse between the public and members of the city that were there to provide information for this Sustainability Investment Fund. I could only stay for one of the breakout sessions. I had to leave after the first. But there will be a second meeting tomorrow, I believe. Yeah, tomorrow in council chambers from 6:30 to 9:30, and I encourage you all to attend if you can, and also just to stay up to date with the Sustainability Investment Fund. I foresee that being the Commission on Sustainability, we will be fairly involved with this as it goes through the pipeline.
Could I just clarify, so this, you said it's 0.5% income tax?
It's a 0.5% increase in our current local income tax.
Okay, and, could we, like, actually designate someone to attend and give a report, because, like, I have a conflicting meeting.
Yeah, I mean,
You would like to go tomorrow?
I can volunteer to
Are
that.
you
I plan on
going?
going
Could you, okay.
tomorrow, yeah.
Thanks.
And to clarify, that's a new city council subcommittee that was created. So they created topical subcommittees, and one of which is now called Climate Action and Resilience, I think the title that they gave it. Matt Flaherty is the chair of that, along with Isabel Piedmont Smith, Dave Rollo, who's our council appointee, and also Kate Rosenbarger. So that was in addition to a couple of other ones. There's one on sustainable development that's not, the seats aren't filled yet, but I think Sue Gambilleri will be leading that one. So that is a development between our last commission meetings, is that council decided to designate topical groups that will meet I think about every third week to be able to dive more deeply into a specific topic.
So you're saying every third week that'll be a topic at a council?
So before the structure was that there was council of the whole, so all 9 members would meet to discuss every single thing, and now it's on Wednesdays. There's meetings by this group of designated 4 people to discuss just one topic for a longer length of time. It's a kind of a structural reorganization.
So they'll meet every third week on a Wednesday?
Yeah, so it's like at the normally scheduled time,
Yes.
and it's not, every single group will not meet every week, but it just allows them more flexibility to spend more time in depth on a topic.
Is there a schedule online somewhere? You think?
Yeah, on the city council website. There's a posted agenda too for Wednesday, but it basically just says from 6:30 to 9:30.
Yeah, 6:30
Yeah,
to 9:30.
that they'll be receiving public input on.
Okay, I'll put that website in the minutes.
Okay, thank you.
And that's all I have as the report from the chair. The next item on the agenda is report from Economic and Sustainable Development.
Yeah, so as you can probably tell, there's quite a bit going on right now. But as to some of the things that I'm working on, we've got the active climate survey that I sent all of you, and I think we have about 303 responses to that at this point. So if anyone's interested in taking that hasn't, or sharing it with others, I encourage you to do that. It's on the sustainability page and then also on the Facebook page. So I've been trying to get that out. And it really focuses on not only perceptions of climate change, how it's impacted you, and then just some general feedback about ideas that people might support in relation to local government investment in both sustainability and climate action. So that was part of a planned project that was going to be going on anyway, but the timing is appropriate given that it's now elevated as a topic of more conversation in the community right now. I was there last Thursday. I just had a small bit in the middle just to talk about sustainability being not only environmental but also social and economic in focus. And I was at the climate planning table with Andrea Webster. And I think that I was pleased to see that we had a lot of people attending, and a lot of whom I hadn't seen at previous sustainability related meetings, so that was exciting. And we're really just at the beginning of this process. It's going to be a council and mayoral driven process, but really looking for public input. That was just the first of many opportunities to engage, and ultimately any increase would have to be approved by the local income tax board, which we have some seats on, but it's also the county and Ellettsville and Steinsville. So I will be at the Monroe County Environmental Commission meeting tomorrow night, and the county's working on other things. There's students that are working with them on a climate ordinance that would mirror the one passed in June by our city council. So obviously a lot of activity and a lot of opportunities for this commission to both provide feedback and get engaged in some of that process. So there is also a frequently asked questions page that is on the city website for those that relate to questions that have been received on an ongoing basis about, how would this process look like, why is it necessary, etc. And so really looking for broad engagement, whether you support it or not, and generally we will at the same time have all the rest of the things planned for this year going on. So I'll try to keep you all abreast of any updates that I receive as well.
Is there a particular timeline for, them to come to some sort of
Sure.
resolution? Or
Yeah, I think that definitely our city council is working with our county colleagues, but generally they go into recess during the summer.
Mhm.
So I think that the next 3 months generally will be public engagement and discussion on the issue prior to any vote being made. And then if a vote were to be held between June and September, the increase would go into effect in October and be collected for the rest of the year, and then be used in conjunction with any other budgeted city funds for 2021. So the normal city budgeting process will be happening during the summer, as it always does.
That's pretty quick, really. The timeline.
Yeah, so
So if we want to have input,
hi.
hello Bronson. If we want to have input, then that would be in the next few months.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And I'm trying to think of, there's just some other events that are happening also that I had someone reach out to me from the Trash and Fashion show that asked if Beacos wanted to be involved in some fashion. I said that I'd be happy to share their event on the page. It's a pretty popular event that happens every year. And also just a reminder that there will be a city Earth Day celebration on the 18th at Switchyard from 1 to 9. And in the pavilion, there will be opportunities for people to get involved with nonprofits. We have about 30 that are confirmed. And then just general music and opportunities for people to meet others. And
So sorry to interrupt. When
Yeah.
is the trash and fashion thing?
let me check.
So could we? Are you saying we could like have a table or something at the? Is it at Buskirk again?
It is at Buskirk.
Mhm.
Yeah, they said there's different opportunities for sponsorships. I let them know that we don't have a huge budget, but that it's the sort of thing that is a creative example of sustainability. So all designs that are part of it have to be at least 90% recycled or repurposed materials. It's on April 5th.
April 5th. Are you having a table that has commission information for all the commissions, or is that an idea that?
I was planning on probably attending, but there was no formal commitment made at this point. So they just thought it would be a good fit. So if that's something that people wanted to definitely attend, then I could try to facilitate that.
So it's April 5th, which
Mhm.
is a Woody. What day of the week is it?
It is.
Looks like Sunday, so that's before our next meeting.
Mhm.
So we'd have to decide at this meeting.
Yeah.
We'd like to encourage her.
Yeah, I think it's been a topic of conversation, just being present at community events in general. So obviously it's a volunteer commission, but if it's something that, for instance, you are excited about going to anyway, then and you'd be happy to be there as a commissioner instead of as a member of the public, then I can reach back out to the person that or put you in contact with the person that contacted me about the particular event.
So what are the thoughts? Should I send out an email after this meeting to see if anybody wants to show up and then get back to Lauren in the interim?
That sounds good. I would need to check my calendar, but
Yeah.
I would be
Mhm.
interested in going and helping if need be.
It's usually pretty fun.
And on the Earth Day, you said the 18th is March 18th?
April.
April.
Yeah.
And is that at
Switchyard Park.
Switchyard Park?
Yeah.
Is that
Sorry.
is that a
My
weekend?
husband calls
It
it
is a
Switchblade
Saturday,
Park,
yeah.
so I-
Saturday, yeah.
Yeah, so it's at the pavilion, which is right next to the parking lot.
The brewing company, Switchblade Brewing.
Switchblade Brewing. Oh, okay. So same thing, really, right?
Yeah, it's the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, so it's
Ah.
kind of a seminal moment.
Yeah.
And I will mention also IU will have an event, but it's on actual Earth Day, which is a Wednesday. So, and I think it's in the afternoon, but they're intending to play some recordings of the first Earth Day that was held in Dead Meadow and
Oh,
have
neat.
some student kind of involvement there too.
We all wear 1950s outfits.
70s,
Sorry,
yeah.
sorry, 70s. My math. Any other announcements?
Yeah, I guess I'm available for like questions that anyone might have, and obviously anything else that's happening. I mean, there's just a massive amount of things happening at one time, but I think that with these new council subcommittees, that regardless of this particular opportunity, but that's another opportunity for engagement, especially with Dave sitting on one of them. And then also just our active group work here and maybe connecting that to some of the things that council is working on as well. But I guess if anyone had questions about the event last Thursday or if I can answer the questions about like what's happening next, I'm happy to
I just
respond to
had
it.
a comment about, I went last Thursday too, and during some of the roundtable discussions, some of the other citizens that were there were just voicing their concerns about how the tax would actually be, or the fund would actually be
Sure.
allocated to people of lower income. So just like putting that out there as a thought to
Yeah.
like really make that kind of a focus as we're speaking to people about it, how this will benefit people who aren't as well off as others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's been a common criticism and concern, that because it is not possible to do a
Mhm.
progressive
Yeah.
tax increase, that it would be perceived as regressive
Sure.
then in that
Mhm.
instance. So I think that there's definitely necessary that if it were to move forward, it would have to demonstrate the benefit in exceedance of what the increase in
Mhm.
taxes would be. So
For sure.
and I think Matt had mentioned this, for someone that's making 40,000 a year would equate to about $4 a week.
Mm-hmm.
So someone that's
Which
under
is
the poverty line,
significant.
it would be about 2.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
so, especially, there was a lot of support, and there has been a lot of support in the community for increasing frequency of transit.
Mm-hmm.
That's one instance where it definitely meets all of the criteria of both providing that environmental benefit that is important, but then also demonstrating that it's meeting those economic and
Mhm.
social needs as well.
For sure. Yeah. It wasn't meant as criticism.
No,
This is
yeah.
like as we're
Yeah.
controlling the message
I'm glad
that
you
people
came,
hear.
yeah.
It was a great event. It was well
Good.
put on.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing that.
Lauren, kind of along those lines, I've gone down a little bit of a rabbit hole and might do like my finance project on
Yeah.
sustainability financing for municipalities. But something that very unsexy topic is the stormwater fee.
Mhm.
But in the literature, it's kind of noted as an option where you can make the structuring of stormwater fees a little bit more progressive. So I don't know if it would be possible. I know the fees were increased last year, but if the council wanted to, as a part of this tax, potentially mitigate some of the regressive nature by
Sure.
making the stormwater management fees more progressive based on amount of impervious area.
Mm.
So basically it would be, larger commercial, like big box stores would be paying a larger fee, help offset some of the
Yeah.
regressive nature of the lid.
Yeah, I think I'll be there on tomorrow night on Wednesday as well. So gonna hang back, but I think that we got a ton of feedback, and then council's working on transcribing a lot of those notes that were on larger sheets of paper so that they're accessible to the public as well, so that people that weren't able to be there are able to note what other people's feedback was. So as soon as those are posted, I'll send them out to the group as well.
Great. Thank you. So now we'll go on to the next line item, which is an update on the strategic goal working groups, which for the new members, we're currently working on 3 areas of strategic goals, and you're highly encouraged to volunteer for one or as many of those as you like. And they are waste reduction, sustainable business, and the UDO, Unified Development Ordinance. I'll go ahead and give the update on the waste reduction. We did have a meeting scheduled a couple weeks ago, I believe, and it was mostly just going over some of the new documentation that was given to us, the Boston Zero Waste
okay.
one, reading over that one. So that's really the only update of any substance that I can give for that working group right now.
Can you repeat that? Sorry, you met a couple weeks ago and.
We went over the what was it? The Zero Waste Boston plan. I can't remember the exact title of it. I can give that to you later for the minutes, though.
Okay, great.
Yeah. And that was basically a plan that was put together by a committee within the city of Boston, outlining strategic goals for reducing the waste of the city.
And can I just confirm who's on that committee? You're the chair.
Yes.
Jarrett, right? Corbin?
Corbin.
You're on that?
Yeah.
Jonna?
Yeah.
Anna?
Yes.
Anybody else?
Those are all the people that come to my mind. I
Ethan?
have an
Samantha,
email
would you
list.
like to join that particular?
I would be happy to join
Okay.
in.
I was gonna offer to join the UDO one.
Okay, great. Okay,
So the next is if there's a rep from the Sustainable Business Working Group that can give an update.
I can do that, since Nagel's not here, but it's kind of old news, but it's never been reported, so I'll go ahead and report it. We did not meet this last month, so, I don't know if Nagel has plans to set a meeting coming up or not, so I can't answer to that. Just a few things that we discussed, the difference between B Corps and Benefit Corps, which are different things. The B Corp is a independent company that has a bunch of hoops you jump through to get their certification. And the Benefit Corp is something you can file for with the state and doesn't really have any teeth per se. It's just your company saying out loud in a way that you intend to think of sustainable practices. An LLC can't be a benefit corp, but it can be a B Corp. So a lot of really small businesses could not be a benefit corp anyway. They could only be a B Corp. Okay, letter B.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We talked with, and now the name of the business escapes me, the woman who did the Gnarly Tree. Yeah, thank you. We talked with the Gnarly Tree, the owner of Gnarly Tree, and what she said was that the most difficult things for a small business to deal with, and they are a B Corp, letter B Corp. I don't know if they're a benefit corp, but they are a letter B Corp. Is like coming up with the paperwork, like making bylaws that reflect how they're supposed to be, or creating an employee handbook, or making a privacy. These things are all required by the B Corp company that gives the certification company. And so, and then the other thing is convincing people why they should take the time to do it, or there's a little bit of money involved as well. Because it's, even though there's like lots of general statistics that people do buy based on a company's stated ethics, it's hard to really track how much difference it makes. If you're a bigger company, sometimes you can woo better employees because you have these stated ethics, so that can be a benefit. A benefit is just simply going through the process, of course, is what she said, because it forces a small company to create those documents and involve the employees in letting them know what the ethics of the company is, that sort of thing. So that's a benefit, but it would be, it's hard to get small businesses to actually buy that in a way a lot of times, unless you are like a Gnarly Tree, which that's their whole business, is really sustainable practices and that kind of thing, advice in that. So we had some suggestions that up to now we just have not explored, but probably we will explore, which is working with organizations like the BEDC, the Chamber, the SBDC, like to come up with a survey for their members, maybe to see how they feel about sustainability, what kinds of issues they find that they're interested in sustainability. Maybe create a speaker series that invites people to come in and talk about privacy, or other B Corps that exist to come in, like the Gnarly Tree owner, that kind of thing. Again, do a workshop series maybe too that steps, maybe separated by industry, that steps people through the B Corp process specifically. Maybe create a library of templates so that people can insert your name here, sort of thing. Make that shorter. And then we should discuss ways to encourage certification through the city, like maybe offering tax benefits to certified businesses because they are contributing to the city's overall sustainability goals, or creating a small fund that offers mini grants to pay for the fees. The fees aren't high, but they're not zero, and small businesses have a hard time coming up with cash for anything. So, and then we also thought maybe we should find some specific businesses to try to recruit to sort of step through the process to create the templates and things like that. So we were thinking of like One World, which already does a lot of pretty innovative management practices, like they do open book management, which is really unusual. They have employee participation, which is unusual. Blooming Foods would be a natural for that. And then to be even more confusing with B's, the BEE Corp, which is
a B Corp.
There is, huh?
I thought the BEE Corp is a B Corp.
They probably are.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe. I don't
think
know
they
if they're not, though. Yeah, if the BEE Corp is not a B Corp, then that would be a perfect one. So those were that's where I'm leaving it with Najla, because I was the chair, and now she has to take this over.
Mm-hmm.
But those were what we did.
Okay, great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And Nigel and I did
Oh, you did meet?
I texted her and was like, hey, we should talk, and we had like a short phone call.
Oh, okay. You left me out. I'm on the committee.
Well, it was
No worries,
That's
no
on her,
worries, I'm
maybe.
only a little sad.
I'm taking the heat.
Yeah.
Us too. But yeah, hopefully let's work and try to set a time
Yeah.
before next meeting and strategize more and figure out how we want to move forward.
And
Good.
aside from me, I think Dave Warren is also meant to be on that committee.
Is he still part of the commission? Last time I talked to him, I don't know if he said he.
He's on the page.
Okay.
He is on the
I don't
page.
know.
Has he notified
Yeah.
you
So-
in either way?
I will verify with him again tomorrow. He was still in an acting role, but he's sick in a county plan commission role as well, so he wasn't sure about balancing that. But there was a commitment from the county that if he is to step down, that another member would attend from the county environmental commission.
So yeah, we should include him, and then if he can't do it, he'll assign somebody.
Mhm.
Is that what you're saying? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I'll just attach that information to the minutes. I typed it all up for Nigel anyway.
Okay.
Okay, and probably I should just do UDO,
Yeah,
which
that's
I
what
don't
I
have
asked.
nearly as impressive a report. I know there was one meeting, which I couldn't attend, which was yesterday. That was, the continuation of the UDO, which is the map, the rezoning map
The zone. Okay.
and some, what's it called? Do you know the official name of that map?
Conversion map.
Conversion map, thank you. And technical additions. We have a few months to come up with suggestions for the conversion map, which I think we will do in terms of especially suggestions for the R4 zone,
Okay.
which is a zone that hasn't been indicated yet, and it's meant to be higher density, which sustainable interests would indicate that would be good
Mhm.
in town, so we'll probably make suggestions about where R4 zones could be specifically.
Do you have an idea of when, as a commission, we would need to submit the recommendations in order for it to be included or considered before them?
I mean, it's really hard to figure that out from the website, like
Okay.
nigh on impossible. So I'm just gonna try to have something for us to vote on with the committee. I'll try to meet with the committee this month and try to have something for us to look at next month. 'Cause that should be early enough,
Okay.
because they say they're not gonna adopt it until when, like, fall, I think.
I think
The
it's
whole
early
thing.
enough. Yeah, because I just
Yeah.
started that mapping process.
Yeah.
Plus, that's the next time we meet is in a month anyway. So.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's just Nigel and Dave Warren that are now on that, and then you said you'd like to be. Can you remember anybody else who's on that?
I don't think so. I mean,
Okay.
everyone's new, so
All right.
going strong in the waste reduction group.
Okay, the next line item is new business. Is there any new business or new comments that anyone would like to make or bring up to the commission?
I guess I just wanted to say, the two meetings I'm going to tomorrow between the county and the climate action, I will take notes and send those to the group, and so if there's feedback on that, as well as the notes from last Thursday, so I there's quite a bit that's happened, and especially with having new commission members, like, if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll just try to keep you apprised via email, and other than that, I think there's an opportunity on our next agenda to maybe just have a sustainability investment fund line item to discuss any updates that have happened next month. And I'm happy to share some preliminary survey results as well. But I don't know if anyone else had new business.
This isn't business, but this is just a question, so I
Sure.
guess this is the right time
Yeah.
for that. So I just have been kind of thinking about and wondering, where do people, and this might seem like a very obvious question, but it just hasn't been obvious to me as a new, I guess, community member. Where do members of our community find information primarily about sustainability initiatives or best practices as far as their own, how they can kind of contribute to sustainability? I'm just wondering, just in your experience or in the experience of the commission, kind of how people, I guess, find their information and how we disseminate that information, or how we have historically.
I think there's a couple, obviously, any city council meeting, people oftentimes find out about things from the Herald Times, local newspaper, got some social media, but I think there isn't a dedicated page just for this commission necessarily, aside from meetings and agendas. So if that's something as you're meeting in your subgroups that you think would be important to have a space for final documents or updates, so you can talk about it as well. But I think that generally the City of Bloomington sustainability page is where most people find that.
The webpage.
Yeah.
City.
I'm trying to think of anything else.
A lot of it's just like networking too, like
Yeah.
going to the green drinks. And then ESD's always been
Yeah.
great at putting stuff out.
So there's a lot of other just sustainability nonprofits as well, and so I try to keep it connected with them. But I think there's like official communication channels, and then there's just people really just sharing information with each other. But I think that can be maybe we can think about a more systematic way to work on, especially things coming from this commission. 'Cause I think that not everyone has the opportunity to come during this time frame, and so it's great that we have recordings and things like that. But there's quite a few people that obviously are missed in any circumstance. So.
And I was just kind of wondering, just in general, not necessarily to propose anything, but just as a new, I guess, member of
Sure.
I guess, a new resident, kind of where most people found out things
Yeah,
and
so,
what the community.
Well,
had
and
been-
people on campus often follow Sustain IU, and they kind of aggregate everything that's happening on campus and put this weekend sustainability for things happening on IU. So that's another good resource if you're looking for, especially like talks on sustainability or climate topics. They have weekly agendas of things that people can attend, and they have working groups on campus as well. So
I just typed in sustainability efforts Bloomington, Indiana, and the sustainable Bloomington is the first thing that comes
that's
up.
good.
And that second is sustainability action plan.
Which is like on the sustainability page.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Thank you.
So you are findable. Nicely done. I wanted to mention, I was just on our page, this commission's page
Okay.
yesterday, and noticed that the working group meetings are listed on the calendar, which we don't do anymore.
Okay.
I don't know where that calendar comes from.
Well, it's managed by Public Works, and we had that as still standing in case anyone wanted to use the room. But if nobody is, then I'll make sure it gets taken off.
What do people think? It was like it was the up, like 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was
every 2
yeah.
weeks. Do we wanna keep it, keep the McCluskey room, or?
Well, I can say for the waste reduction group, we've never used it for the meeting
Okay.
time or location. So I will say that for the waste reduction group, but I
So
can't
do
speak
we-
for the other groups.
We don't.
Okay.
Okay.
UDO doesn't. How about, who has waste reduction? Yeah, you said waste reduction. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll get it removed then. I think when we had talked about it with Erin, she said that it seemed like this time worked, and so I didn't wanted to keep it as a whole placeholder,
Thanks.
but
Yeah. Do you want, or will you contact them, or should we?
yeah, no,
Oh,
I
okay.
can do that. Yeah.
Okay, if there's no other comments or new business, the next meeting will be held on Tuesday, April 14th, in this room, again from 6 to 7:30. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
A second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye.